What's up? So, over the past few days, we've had quite a bit of kind of drama going on, just on social media and on the internet as a whole regarding to what's going on with Bungie. Uh, on Monday, someone announced anonymously through, and then posted through a kind of like a what's it called, like a news article that Bungie was delaying the release of the final shape, which is the next expansion that was slated for late February. They're pushing it back to June. Now, mind you, based on that and they're pushing Marathon back to 2025 as well. So based on that information alone, like they didn't give us any information about whether or not Bungie has something planned for us in between, or if we're just gonna go through like a 3-4 month content drought. And so we are all a little confused, but that was the least of our worries when they announced that there were massive layoffs in Bungie. I think one of the articles that I'm going to go over today talked about that they wiped out about 100 people from Bungie Studios. That's about 8% of their workforce, including their composer Michael Salvatore, who's been with the company since 1997. Like that's a long ass, that's 25 years. Like that 97 was the year I was born. So like that's a long ass fucking time. Like he did the soundtrack for a lot of the Halos when Bungie was over Halo. He did a lot of Destiny soundtracks for everything from Base Destiny, Taken King, Rise of Iron, Forsaken, Beyond Light. It's just like it's just been crazy. So I'll kind of start to get into that stuff real quick. And so we'll start kind of like making a timeline as I'm kind of going over this stuff. So to start with that, we got this first. The breaking that Jason Schreier reported that that the final shape had been delayed to June. Nobody really made a statement, and Bungie still has not confirmed this yet. All of their websites and everything have stated that it's still going to be released in February, but this is all apparently they so then we got this. So this is the beginning of it. Then we get a bigger notification saying that Bungie has started to had committed to mass layoffs. One of those including, like I said before, Michael Salvatore, their main composer. He's been the composer for the Halo games, Halos 1 through Reach. He was the composer for Destiny from the start all the way to the final shape, as sources state that Michael Salvatore's recording session for the final shape soundtrack has already been completed. So then, as we get to that, everyone's kind of rolling, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on at Bungie. People are immediately pointing fingers at Sony, and then we get this. This is the same day that the layoffs happened. Pete Parsons, he's the CEO of Bungie, says today is a sad day at Bungie as we say goodbye to colleagues who have all made a significant impact on our studios. What these exceptional individuals have contributed to our games and Bungie culture has been enormous and will continue to be a part of Bungie long into the future. These are truly talented people. If you have openings, I would highly recommend each and every one of them. It's kind of tone deaf, especially once we get into what came out on Halloween. So it's just like, hey, sorry we got rid of y'all. Sucks to suck. Is kind of the vibe I'm getting from this. So we get to this IGN article. This IGN article comes out yesterday. It talks about how Bungie CEO's claims that the layoffs were due to Destiny's underperformance. At an internal town hall meeting addressing the Monday's round of layoffs that impacted multiple departments, Bungie CEO Pete Parson allegedly told remaining employees that the company had kept the right people to work on Destiny 2. Mind you, they got rid of a lot of veterans, and I assume that a lot of the people they got rid of were probably people who had been with Bungie for a long time. Though over the years, Bungie has slowly weeded out people that had been around for their Halo era. Um, Speaking to multiple current and recently laid off employees, IG has confirmed reports that Bungie took responsibility for the layoffs rather than laying them at the feet of the parent company Sony, who bought them earlier this year. Parsons told employees that the layoffs were largely due to underperformance of Destiny 2 over the last year, as well as lower than expected pre-orders for the upcoming expansion, The Final Shape. IGN now independently confirms reports that Final Shape has been delayed and Marathon has also been delayed. Employees were also told that Destiny 2 player sentiment was at an all-time low. Sources tell IGN that the issue has been flagged to leadership repeatedly for months prior to the layoffs, with employees begging. Like, look at the verbiage here. So the issue has been flagged to leadership repeatedly for months prior to the layout, with employees begging for necessary changes to win players back. So what that tells us is that the developers at the ground level, the people who are actively working on the game, were listening to us all these months. We've been bitching since Lightfall came out. Season of Defiance, Season of the Deep, Season of the Witch. Though I'll be honest with you, I've had little complaints about Season of the Witch. Besides, obviously, Festival of the Lost was kind of ass. I mean, it still is ass. It's still going. But regardless, one former Bungie employee recalled that they were repeatedly assured following the 2022 Sony acquisition of Bungie that there would be no layoffs. They even made like a big ass fucking post about this. Hold on. And cited an item from a Sony quarterly report. What's up, Greedy? I'm kind of going over all the shit that's been going on with Bungie recently. Or over the past few days. Cited an item for Sony's quarterly report that claimed 1.2 billion of the 4 billion acquisition was going explicitly towards staff retention. That means not only did Bungie not have to fire people because of Sony, that Sony, part of the money Sony paid to buy Bungie was to keep that staff. And then Pete Parsons just said, ooh, money, fuck it. Is from what it looks like, at least. That's all hearsay. Multiple employees confirmed that money was distributed to employees who were fully vested, with money split into multiple payments over time and varying based on discipline and seniority. Other employees told IGN they felt especially frustrated with the layoffs given to the company. It completely worked on a brand new headquarters, more than double the size of its previous office, and likely a pricey upgrade in Bellevue, Washington. Parsons was criticized in some quarters, calling the layoffs a sad day at Bungie, when a tweet which similarly angered several employees we spoke to. So we'll go into this being deemed expendable hearts. Multiple employees expressed frustration at the layoffs, saying they felt that the decision leading to the company apparently money struggles were out of their hands, and that those who were laid off were being punished for a problem they largely did not cause. That kind of goes into what they're saying up here about how they were flagging these problems to leadership and begging for necessary changes to win players back. It kind of goes into that. It's like basically they punish the ground level employees for the actions of upper management, which is pretty common in American corporate, the American corporate society, is that ground level employees typically get punished for actions that were largely caused by upper management. I see it in my own line of work, in my day job. It's frustrating. So what we did, so what we learned from everything is eventually that Bungie didn't tell pretty much anybody that they were letting them go until the day of. The lower management knew people were getting ready to be laid off, but they didn't know who and they didn't know when. Then the people who got laid off didn't know until 2 days ago, when they couldn't get into their emails, their badges weren't working, stuff like that. So then you look at it like, why would they not tell them prior to laying them off that they're being laid off? Like, why would you not pull them individually into your office and go, hey, I'm sorry this has to happen, but I don't have space for you in the company anymore? This is the most offhanded accountability I've seen in a while, and it's something that Bungie's kind of been known for lately, especially since the release of Lightfall. We saw the way they kind of just shrugged off our complaints and concerns about the Solstice event, about Season of the Deep in general, about the Ghosts of the Deep dungeon. It's just been a mess. And then I know I had read another tweet, but I couldn't find the tweet before I started this today, that stated that Bungie had clauses in their acquisition by Sony that talked about them getting stock after being with the company for a year, involved following the acquisition, and then the fact that they got fired before they got that to that year, so they don't get their stock. They get nothing. And then on top of that, their contracts had statements, that clauses that stated they'd keep their health insurance and whatnot until the end of the month. And then Pete Parsons fires them 2 days before the new month. So they basically don't get any health insurance. None of the 100 people that got fired have any of their benefits anymore. They get their minimalistic severance package. They lose their insurances and all that stuff. So then we look into another piece of information that came in today, as a matter of fact, that Astacross is reporting that Bungie had Escape from Tarkov streamers fly out to Bungie HQ in Bellevue, Washington, to play Marathon, and that they did not seem interested in the game, and asked if any of them would play Marathon if it was released tomorrow, and no one raised their hand. That's embarrassing, because this is this game that they've been jerking off, and it almost feels like they had been kind of spitting in the face of the Destiny community about, was Marathon. Now, mind you, I know Marathon is one of Bungie's IPs from even before Halo, so it's understandable that they want to invest back into an old IP and build it back up. But this is depressing. So then we look at this last one. This is Bloomberg. Sony's Bungie game unit cut 8% of staff after Destiny played wilted. Sales at the studio were running 45% below projections for the year. Layoffs are a part of a bigger revamp of Sony PlayStation unit. So my thing about it is this right here. Sales at studio are running 45% below projection. So when we look at that, and we look at the IGN article from earlier, and they're talking about how the ground level employees are sitting there and begging the company to just listen to the players and put stuff out, it just feels like they're kind of not really paying attention to us, and they don't care because they feel like whatever they say is going to make them money. So we scroll down. I'm not going to be able to read this article. Wow. That's cool. Why will it not? That sucks. I didn't know it wasn't going to let me read this article. That's cool. But anyways, to kind of sum everything up, it's so over. Real. Like, okay, so I have this kind of pulled up to kind of like make a joke involving where we are with Destiny right now. And so this is the Destiny model since the split from Activision and the go to free to play. We were around here for season of the Undying and Shadowkeep. Shadowkeep was alright, but it wasn't anything special. We get into Beyond Light. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people didn't like Beyond Light. I thought Beyond Light was great, so I feel like we're back. But then those Beyond Light seasons were kind of up until we get to season, I want to say it was 15, or no, 16, or no, it would have been 15, season 15. So then we get into Witch Queen and its seasons, and then we're like, we're so back because Witch Queen is great. I will refund that to you when I turn chat back on. Then we get to Lightfall. It's over again. I'd say this was season 20, season 21, and Lightfall as a whole. Then we get to season 22. Season 22 is looking like it's starting to pick back up. Crota was great, especially contest mode. The seasonal activities were great. It was awesome. And then Bungie layoffs. And it's over. So for my kind of like final statements for this, before I kind of cut down from this, is that there's gonna have to be a lot that comes from Bungie in the next coming weeks in order to return player sentiment. Now, will I be playing the final shape? I have no idea. I hadn't pre-ordered it yet. We'll see if I'm going to pre-order it in the future. It kind of depends on what's going to happen. I want to kind of close out, my Light and Darkness saga with Destiny. I love Destiny. I've loved Destiny since I started playing it in 2015. But this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's like everything about it is tone deaf to the general community at large. It makes it feel like upper management doesn't see the players as valuable, doesn't see their teammates as valuable. It just feels like they don't give a fuck because they think, we'll throw mediocre content at you and you guys will just eat it up because that's all we're gonna give you and that's all you're gonna get, and it's just kind of gross. So if you guys are going to, if you guys are going to pre-order your final shape, that's great. If you guys have already canceled your pre-orders, that's great. Whatever you guys choose, just leave it in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, feel free to give me a follow and we'll go from there. All right, thanks everybody for watching. We'll go get some more updates and I'll come back with more updates as the situation continues to unfold. Thank you.